Hello students, I want to take a couple minutes to record some information about your annotated bibliography assignment. I've had a couple questions through the Ask Your Question forum and email about that, but I also realized that the file I uploaded was the rubric only rather than the assignment details and the rubric. I had two files, they were titled similarly, and the one that was just the rubric was the one that was uploaded. So I've corrected that. If you go into the Find Course Information folder, in the Blackboard site. My computer is being very slow today. Just going to warn you ahead of time. Sorry that the syllabus popped up. I'll fix that. So if you go to the Annotated Bibliography Assignment folder, there's a new file called Updated Annotated Bib. Okay, that's what we're going to click on here. It's the very bottom in the Annotated Bibliography Assignment folder. If you click on that file, it will launch. See, my computer's so crazy, it's opened up two of everything at the same time. And so here you have this assignment. This is the revised one, the one that has the rubric as it was, but also has some additional information. And again, sorry that that was not uploaded to begin with. So, but the purpose of the assignment is posted here at the very top with your tasks. So the main idea is that you are looking for a specific area of research interest, something that you're interested in. So it could be early childhood education, it could be access to higher education, it could be serving needs of diverse students in education, could be refugee and immigrant education, something that you're specifically interested in and you want to see how other places around the world address this question. And the focus is research. So at least half of your articles must be from peer-reviewed research journals. And so we can talk about that as well as to what that means exactly. You can also check with the reference librarian at Randall Library. She's very good about helping with assignments like this one if you don't know where to start. And a basically research journal. So we're looking for something where somebody has conducted a study. If you can't tell from reading the article that they've conducted a study and that they have information about what they did they survey, did they interview, did they compare test scores before and after, if there's no sort of research that's been conducted that's being reported, then that's not research to begin with. It's not empirical research. And a peer-reviewed research journal is going to be one that's more rigorous, and it's not necessarily going to be like a magazine that would just have kind of a summary of here are our top 10 things to keep in mind when you're focusing on refugee and immigrant education. But so it's a little complicated to go into too much explanation of what those might be, but I'll be happy to kind of find you some resources about finding out if something is a research journal as well. So, but primarily you are choosing one topic in education and you're researching how it's addressed, researched, and or measured around the world. So I gave you some examples at the beginning of this. I just made a list of last year, some of the examples from last year. One student did international school nutrition programs. One student did culturally relevant pedagogy. Another did the relationship between physical activity and student achievement. Another did access to higher education to look and see what was being studied around the world around access to higher education. One person did special education in primary schools, looking to see how other countries address special education. Another student did bilingual education. Two of my students looked at professional development because they were interested in seeing how other schools or how schools around the world would use professional development in their buildings or their districts in order to help improve the skills of teachers. So those are just some kind of specific examples. The important thing here is you have to have 10 resources, but they have to be at least two different international perspectives. So this is not just one country. This is some articles from Jordan and some articles from Saudi Arabia. This is an article that compares China and the US, and another article that compares Britain and Australia, another article that focuses solely on New Zealand. There has to be at least two different countries other than the US represented across your 10 articles. And none of your articles, it says here, none of your articles should be only about the USA. So if it just talks about early childhood education reform in the United States, it does not go in this article or this assignment. It might be an interesting article for you to read, but it does not go into this assignment. We're doing comparative education, so we're looking specifically for other countries, and there are many, many things out there published in English that are about research in other countries. So research in other countries around your specific idea with at least 2 countries represented in your 10 articles. It could be 8 articles on Turkey and 2 articles on Saudi Arabia. You're done. It doesn't have to be half and half. Doesn't have to be, a mix across the world. It really just has to make sure there's at least 2 countries represented. And again, none of those should be U.S. only. What are you going to do with that? You're going to create a PDF. You're going to upload a PDF. If you don't know how to change a Word document to a PDF, then you can just do a quick Google search, change Word document to PDF, and they'll teach you how to do that. And you're going to cite the article in correct APA format, summarize the source in a sentence or 2, evaluate the source. Was it a good source? Was it valuable? Did it seem to be well written? Did they have lots of examples? Did they give some tables and figures, etc.? And discuss the potential application of the source. So how could you use the source in your own work, or how could those who are researching this topic use the source, etc.? So it's a SEA, summarize, evaluate, apply. Total, your annotation will be about 2 paragraphs long, 6 to 9 sentences. In those 6 to 9 sentences, you're doing these 3 things. You're summarizing in a sentence or 2, you're evaluating in a sentence or 2, and you're applying in a sentence or 2. There are some examples at this link of some annotated bibliography entries. They don't follow the SEA format, but they are kind of examples of how you annotate an article. And of course, there's a rubric. Please review the rubric to make sure you're completing the assignment correctly. We're going to stick on this on target or exemplary column for the content, the summary, clear sense of the contents of the articles and why you chose them for your bibliography. Again, it's just a sentence or 2. In that sentence or 2, I need to know why you chose this article. What was the article about? Evaluation. The annotations include details as to what the articles say that is significant, and or the annotations include an element of critique about the value of the articles. This was an important article because it helped me understand why early childhood is not just an issue in our country, it's also an issue in Jordan. And in Jordan, they are experiencing some of the same things that we're experiencing. They did a great job of explaining what those were so that I can think about how that might connect with my own experiences here in the United States. That would be an evaluation kind of thing. And then application. Specifically, I think that in this article about Jordan, where they mentioned that they learned that 3 things needed to be taken into consideration when you're trying to get districts to understand why early childhood is so important, those 3 things are things that we discuss here in my district and are things that could become the part of a professional development that I offer in my own school. That would be an application, okay? So this is worth 30 points of your 50, so please make sure you're paying close attention to making sure that all 3 aspects are in each annotation: summary, evaluation, application. You have to have at least 10 sources. This is the quality of your sources. You have to have at least 2 different international perspectives, with none of them being only about the U.S. It's okay if it's a comparison, if China and the U.S. are discussed in the same article. And you have to have at least 5 sources from a peer-reviewed research journal. And then 7 to 8 points, so 8 points being the high end here, 30, 12, and 8. No APA and or grammatical errors or minor errors that do not detract from the content of the assignment. Again, it needs to be turned in as a PDF. So you type it in a Word document and then you can create that as a PDF. If you need help figuring that out, just Google how do I change a Word document to a PDF, and there'll be lots of examples, YouTube videos, etc. that you can help. You can also start with which type of Word you're using, which issue or of words you're using, etc. So that's kind of the sense of the annotated bibliography. So important. In summary, pick a topic that has research out there. So if it's a brand new topic, nobody's ever explored it, then you're not going to find research about it. Then you need to pick something else. Go a little bit narrow in the sense of thinking like school nutrition programs or physical education and academic achievement or culturally relevant pedagogy or access to higher education. But don't go so specific that you can't come up with at least 10 different articles, and don't go so broad that you get 18,000 articles. So try to think of something that's really got some meat to it. Montessori schools, for example. Charter schools won't work because it's really a US based phenomenon, but special education in primary school, you should be able to find some comparative or international perspectives. Practice searching with the search engines on the library. I would focus on using the library databases, which will give you a large, significant amount of empirical research or research-based articles. And again, don't hesitate to ask the distance librarian if you need help. She's there all the time. There's also a little button that says chat with me. Do you need help? And you can just click there and somebody will help you. Make sure you look at the rubric and make sure that you are focused on this being comparative, not about the US, but comparative. So we're really looking for education research that's around the world. If you have any questions specifically, please don't hesitate to let me know. I'll be more than happy to explain other things, to talk to you on the phone, to set up a WebEx where we can talk about it more. Whatever you need, I'm here. Thanks.